The winged staff carried by Mercury, mythological messenger of the gods, had the magical ability to bring people back to Earth from hell. Along the staff were two snakes which represented renewal, since each year they shed their skin. This emblem became an obvious symbol for this profession. In the world of sports, the more things change, the more things stay the same. In 1880, a baseball team allegedly stole an important player away from Philadelphia and offered nothing in return. A local Philadelphia newspaper called them a name for their action, and this team has been known by this moniker ever since. When this discovery was first made by William Röntgen in 1895, newspapers were convinced that the primary user would be a peeping Tom. As a result, laws were passed to either restrict it or to forbid its use entirely. In fact, this invention was considered so threatening. In London, England, a special type of clothing was manufactured and sold to guard against its use. In 1683, during the defense of Vienna, the Austrians, aided significantly by the Polish-born Kolyazewski, managed to repel the Turkish invasion. For his crucial role, Kolyazewski was rewarded with all the coffee abandoned by the retreating Turks. Leveraging this opportunity, he established a cafe in Vienna. Further adding to the local culture, he directed a baker to invent a novel pastry to serve alongside the coffee. He specified that it should be moon-shaped to celebrate his triumph over the Turks. Heaven and Hell, The Doors of Perception, and Eyeless in Gaza are three works by Aldous Huxley that explore the effects of mescaline in triggering visionary experiences. A renowned American rock band derived their name from one of these titles. Initially, when introduced in Europe, these items did not gain quick acceptance. By 1300, they were even barred from commercial transactions due to their ease of forgery compared to Roman versions. It wasn't until the late 1700s that they received widespread acceptance across Europe. Originally, stage makeup was composed of a very coarse, heavy material that tended to dry out the skin, thereby impeding actors' ability to display facial expressions. To remedy this, they started using a base layer of pig fat to maintain the skin's elasticity. This particular use of the base coat led to the development of this expression. At the end of conflicts among American Indian groups, they traditionally embedded a tomahawk in the earth as a peace gesture. Early American settlers who witnessed this practice adopted the phrase for similar uses. In 1839, the British Parliament enacted a law prohibiting the indiscriminate distribution of advertising flyers and posters throughout cities. This legislation gave rise to a new type of advertising. Crafted by Sir Christopher Wren, St. Paul's Cathedral in London was almost finished by 1710. However, it still lacked bells, which were essential for a cathedral. To rectify this, the Church of England chose to transfer the bells from London's Collegiate Church of St. Peter, better known as Westminster Abbey, to St. Paul's. This pivotal decision within the church gave rise to a well-known expression. This term or acronym is derived from the first letters of the four cardinal directions, north, east, west, and south, which indicate the source of information from various locations worldwide. During the Middle Ages, it was common for kings to be known by only their first names. However, This led to confusion, especially in discussions that included both a current and a former king with the same name. To resolve this issue, a specific phrase was developed to clarify which king was being referred to. This expression originated from an ancient English remedy for thrush and whooping cough. The treatment involved wrapping a live amphibian in cloth and placing its head inside the patient's mouth, under the belief that the amphibian would absorb the illness, thereby healing the patient. Nowadays, we use this phrase to refer to a gagging or raspy voice. This phrase is commonly applied to a successful business venture that is generating significant profits. It stems from the fisherman's practice of pulling in a net filled with fish. This toy is perhaps the most beloved and widespread in Western culture, taking its name from President Theodore Roosevelt. As a renowned big game hunter, Roosevelt encountered a young animal that he refused to let anyone harm. The media quickly picked up on his compassion, leading a cartoonist to illustrate the whole incident. Subsequently, a toy manufacturer began producing what has become one of the top-selling toys globally. In 1857, the British rule of India was becoming increasingly unpopular. The British soldiers in their crisp white uniforms were becoming too often a very good target for Indian snipers. In order to decrease the number of casualties, it became obvious that a camouflaged uniform would be infinitely better suited. To this end, a cloth manufacturer was commissioned to create more suitable attire. This color is a Hindi word meaning dust-colored. Until the 1700s, spinning yarn was a common task for women. In England, spin houses were established as reformatories for troubled women. Initially, this term was associated with their work activity, but it has evolved to describe a woman who has exceeded the usual age for marriage. During World War II, U.S. Army soldiers developed this phrase to characterize individuals who hastily volunteered for perilous assignments. Before the advent of refrigeration, sailors often relied on salt pork as a staple of their diet. Cooking salt pork, whether fried or boiled, resulted in a significant amount of grease, which was stored in large vats on the ship. This grease was also used as a lubricant aboard the ship, and any surplus was commonly sold once the ship docked. The money from these sales was then used to purchase small luxuries for the enlisted men. This practice has inspired a phrase now used to describe business or political operating budgets. These four symbols represent the following elements: a spear, which stands for the military; a clover indicative of the agrarian farmer and peasant; a shield, symbolizing the governmental and religious authorities of the time; and a diamond, representing the mercantile class.